It's a curious thing to discover at 19 that one has been defeated, not by the enemy, but by enthusiasm. This was, I regret to say, before penicillin. Mother called it a catastrophe. Sandhurst called it a withdrawal. I called it inconvenient. But perhaps I should start from the beginning. I arrived at Britain's most distinguished military academy, Sandhurst, one of 186 young men, well past caring. Reveille at 7 a.m. Lectures in a red and white striped blazer and a pillbox cap tilted just so. Map reading, tactics, the Constitution. All very admirable subjects, none unfortunately involving champagne. Games 4 days a week, matches on Saturday, dinner at 8. Lights out at 10. Officially, social life consisted of sherry under supervision. Unofficially, London was 25 miles away and considerably more persuasive. But at Sandhurst, discipline was strict, infringement of rules serious, but I, Ian Fleming, would find a way. Ian always intended to write thrillers. Even as a boy, he liked danger when it began with the word forbidden. And so his formidable mother, with a confidence known only to generals and widows, selected Sandhurst as a stepping stone for Ian into the Foreign Office. She saw Ian as a diplomat in Paris or Washington, as one might see the sunrise, inevitable. Oxford, meanwhile, required no such discipline. I spent 2 uninterrupted years of pleasure at the house, during which I made several important discoveries. The first was mathematical. If one wagered on a horse at 10 to 1 and the animal happened to win, a small shower of gold fell quite naturally into one's lap. The second was geographical. There existed a charming diversion called chemin de fer, conveniently accessible by motorcar, from Oxford to Croydon Aerodrome, and from there by brisk taxi to the Cercle Haussmann in Paris. To become a member required being of age. Fortunately, numbers are remarkably flexible when handled with conviction. I was soon a member in excellent standing. There's a phenomenon known as beginner's luck. It has rarely produced a finer specimen than myself. Win, win, win. For a time, anything I desired could be obtained by dedicating a modest hour or two at a gaming table. I purchased a Bugatti. Then, feeling philosophical, I replaced it with a Lancia Lambda. Oxford approved of neither. It is sufficient to say my university career concluded after 2 years, at the polite but firm request of the authorities. I left richer in experience. The university perhaps felt otherwise. with a modest inheritance, good looks, and a well-cut uniform, I discovered I was unexpectedly popular. The Army valued punctuality, the debutantes valued charm. I did my best to serve both, returning early morning, just making reveille. Then there was Peggy. One always remembers the first girl who makes discipline seem negotiable. She attended one of my matches. Due to a prior commitment, left with another man. Jealousy, I learned, is less dignified in uniform. I sought revenge at the 43rd Club. And so, in a moment of wounded pride, which history will record as unwise, I sought consolation of the most predictable sort. History also records that consequences possess impeccable timing. Mother did not approve of scandal, particularly the sort requiring convalescence. The full force of her fury descended upon me. She made me seek treatment in a nursing home. She felt my disgrace personally, her reputation compromised in the royal circle she courted to launch my Sandhurst military career, and among her influential friends. Now Sandhurst, on top of all the trouble I had at Eton, she saw no future for me. It's difficult to compete with brilliance. More difficult still to compete with luck. I chose enthusiasm. Enthusiasm, it seems, carries consequences. My rank sank to 141 out of 186. Mother made me break off my affair with Peggy. I expected to be commissioned after 18 months. I lasted 12. I withdrew from Sandhurst. The Army kept its commission. I kept the lesson. Some reports later suggested I was suicidal. That's melodramatic. I wasn't longing for death. I was longing for disappearance.
In Sandhurst?
Yes, I went to Sandhurst with the idea of going into the army and into the Black Watch, incidentally. But then it was decided to mechanize the army, and me and a lot of my friends decided we didn't want to be what we thought then would be large-scale garage mechanics.
Uncertain what to do with the son unfit, Mother chose exile over embarrassment. She heard of a place where troublesome young men might be refined, somewhere alpine, discreet, and distant from London, the Villa Tinnerhoff in Kitzbühel. After my crisis, it was suggested I might serve as a suitable subject. If I couldn't be trusted in London, I might be contained in Austria. Peter spent a brief but triumphant time there during a break from Oxford to study German. Even in Austria, he dazzled. The mountains, it seemed, rose to meet him. I'll be sent to discover myself. The mountains, I suspect, will be less interested in the project. In retrospect, the Army was right. I wasn't meant to march in straight lines. I was meant to move sideways. Stay tuned for the next episode of Hello Sloan, for Kitzbühel, the education of Ian Fleming, where the boy who once competed with luck and brilliance learned to compete with the world. He gave the advantage a name, James Bond.